Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world. It's your national news broadcast on ChannelEye Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Siobhan Pereira.
And I'm Sithimi Jayaratna. Let's take a look at today's headlines.
The IMF is optimistic of the economic progress in Sri Lanka. The Hungarian export credit insurance company agrees to provide a loan facility to this country. Sri Lanka Customs earns an income exceeding 1 trillion rupees during the first 6 months of the year. One person dead and another wounded during a shooting at Kandana. 2 persons taken into custody along with a stock of Kush narcotic smuggled from Bangkok. Praja Shakti National Program to commence from tomorrow. A 5-story children's ward complex at Maharagama Apeksha Hospital. A new trade agreement between the US and Vietnam.
Let's take a look at those stories and more in detail. According to the International Monetary Fund, Sri Lanka is successfully achieving economic targets.
Now, the IMF further stated that Sri Lanka is properly managing risk areas through the 4th review of the extended fund facility. An amount of $350 million have been released as the 5th tranche of the loan facility provided to Sri Lanka by the IMF. Mission Chief of the IMF to Sri Lanka, Evan Papageorgiou, who joined a media briefing held in Washington, further detailed about the loan facility.
Funding is intended to support Sri Lanka's ongoing economic policies and reforms, and it represents a significant milestone in the country's efforts to durably restore macroeconomic stability. The performance under the program in the 4th review has been generally strong, with some implementation risks being addressed. There were 2 prior actions for this review, and the authorities met both of them. The first was about restoring cost recovery electricity pricing for the remainder of 2025. And the second one was to operationalize the automatic electricity tariff adjustment mechanism. It's important to note that all quantitative targets for the end of March 2025 were met as well. Furthermore, all structural benchmarks due by end of May 2025 were either met or implemented, and which demonstrates a commendable commitment to the reform agenda. Now, as we reflect on the progress made, it is essential to recognize the significant achievements under the program. The rebound in growth in 2024 and so far in 2025 reflects a broad and strong recovery amid rising confidence among consumers and businesses. The improvement in revenue performance, with a revenue to GDP ratio climbing to 13.5% in 2024 and continuing to climb in 2025 from 8.2% in 2022, is a testament to the successful implementation of these reforms. Looking ahead, the economic outlook for Sri Lanka remains positive. We have observed that inflation in the second quarter of 2025 continues to be below for the central bank inflation target, largely due to electricity and energy prices. But even there is good news in that it's coming back closer to target. Additionally, Sri Lanka has signed bilateral debt restructuring agreements with Japan, France, and India, bringing the debt restructuring near completion, which is critical for restoring fiscal and debt sustainability.
My question is, the government took steps to increase the electricity tariff based on IMF advice or recommendation. So currently people are under pressure due to the tax burden and the cost of living. Why are you imposing more burden on the people? Is that fair?
So obviously that's an ongoing discussion that we've had we also discussed in the back of the staff level agreement. The cost of living is obviously a very important question, very important side question of it. So let me just say one important thing here. Cost reflective electricity pricing is one core part of how the utility company and the regulator, PUCSL, see it as appropriate, and this is also adopted by the government. It's also one of the building blocks of the IMF program. So maintaining cost recovery electricity pricing is very important for containing the fiscal risks and supporting long-term economic stability, which ensures that the utility company operates on a commercial ground and doesn't become a burden for taxpayers, provide stable and predictable electricity pricing and so on. And all these are good outcomes. In terms of the cost of living and the impact that this has, first of all, it's important to understand also that there is differentiation in the pricing of electricity for different households and different levels of income. So there is already some by consumer category, in other words. So for residential customers, the tariffs are lower for small consumers and increase progressively with the consumption level. Therefore, larger consumers of electricity cross-subsidize smaller consumers. And so the average tariff level is adjusted quarterly to ensure that this financial viability of the CEB also gives a strong nod to the differentiation. But beyond that, obviously, the IMF program has provisions to protect the poor and the vulnerable.
What's your assessment on current status of Sri Lanka's taxation and the process, whether it's successful or whether it's satisfied for your end?
It's very important that there is a revenue-based fiscal consolidation. So tax revenues have risen considerably between the beginning of the program or even earlier, between 2022 and 2024. This year's budget, in our forecast as well, we target tax revenues of a little bit less than 14%, about 13.9% of GDP, and a primary balance of 2.3% of GDP. And also the overall fiscal deficit, the deficit that includes the interest payments, has been shrinking between 2022 and 2024 in line with the program projection.
Moving on with more local news, the government of Sri Lanka and the Hungarian Export Credit Insurance has been signing a bilateral agreement in relation to the external debt restructuring process. The agreement was made following the signing of Memorandum of Understanding with the Official Creditors Committee after the bilateral discussions. The agreement was signed by Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma, Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, on behalf of the government, and the head of the Director Board of the Foreign Corporate Risk Management and Claims and Recoveries Directorate for Hungary. The estimated rescheduled debt under this agreement amounts to 30 million euros. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development added that the signing of the agreement will pave the way to developing further the deep and long-standing bilateral relationships between Hungary and Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka Customs has earned an income over ₹1 trillion during the first 6 months of the year for the first time in its history. Customs media spokesman Sivali Aruguda revealed this fact at a press briefing held today. Customs media spokesman Sivali Aruguda said that they are happy to state that an income of over ₹1,000 billion earned so far this year. The government has given a target of collecting ₹2.1 trillion within this year. The customs is confident that it can achieve this target. Expressing views on the import of salt, the media spokesman Sivali Aruguda added that importers have brought about 150,000 metric tons of salt at present. Import of salt also contributed about ₹4 billion to the income of this year. A certain amount of salt is remaining in the harbour at present due to the passing of the deadline of salt import. Therefore, the custom is unable to clear the containers without a decision from the government. With regards to the imports of vehicles, he added that over 18,000 motor vehicles have been imported by yesterday. Through this, the custom has earned ₹120 billion as custom duties.
One person died and another was wounded during a shooting that occurred this morning around the Kandana public market area. Now, according to the police, 2 persons came in a motorcycle, have shot at 2 persons in a motor car and left the scene. The 2 wounded persons have been admitted to the Ragama Teaching Hospital for treatment. Out of them, a resident of Kandana has succumbed to his injuries. The police had followed a motorcycle which did not obey their orders during a special police operation conducted regarding the shooting incident. The concerned motorcycle had collided with a lorry on the Nigambo-Duwa Fatima Road, and the police has taken a suspect into custody. The other suspect is absconding. He is under treatment at the Nigambo Hospital when the police shot at him after chasing him.
Praja Shakti is one of the prominent programs implemented by the President government in order to ensure the empowerment of the society and justifiable distribution economic benefits. The program will be initiated throughout the island tomorrow, and the national festival is due to be held at the temple tree under the leadership of President Anurukumara Dissanayake. It has been identified that 1 out of every 6 persons is suffering from multidimensional poverty of the entire population of Sri Lanka at present. Out of this figure, 95.3% belong to estate-related areas. If this situation continues, it will be adversely affect the economy and productivity process of the country. Accordingly, during a Praja Shakti program, in order to empower the groups of the society at risk, will be selected and will also be directed towards a streamlined process. A special feature of this program has been that instead of various poverty alleviation programs implemented under previous governments, Praja Shakti program will be implemented through an integrated approach to empower the community. The area of education, which provided the highest contribution in getting rid of poverty in this country, has not been properly identified as an approach in poverty alleviation so far. This integrated approach will be formulated, paying more attention towards such a strategy. Accordingly, 3 new structural changes have been proposed to implement the mechanism to empower the community through a new approach. A special feature of the program has been that areas such as health, transport, food safety and marketing were focused under it. A Praja Shakti National Policy Council will be established under the leadership of the President, which will include 9 ministers. The objective of this National Policy Council is to implement the program via structural changes. In addition, a Praja Shakti National Operational Committee will also be established to implement decisions of the Policy Council. Steps have been taken to establish a Community Development Council at Gramaniladari division level to coordinate this national program at provincial, district, ministerial and provincial council level to coordinate with the national level. Through this program, groups in need of social security will be identified. Inauguration of the Praja Shakti National Program, introduced in line with the policy of the government of building a rich country, a beautiful life, will be telecast over the national television live from 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Moving on, Secretary to the President Dr. Nandika Sanat Kumanayaka says that the objective of the Praja Shakti Poverty Alleviation National Program is to get rid of the poverty and to integrate it with the development program of the government. The President's Secretary made these remarks during a media briefing held in the afternoon today at the Government Information Department in order to raise awareness in this regard. Secretary to the President Dr. Nandika Sanat Kumanayaka said that most of the people at village level are dependent on agriculture and an inherent poverty can be observed within. Although they receive income during harvesting, they lead a life of poverty during the period in between. He pointed out that it is the hope to integrate the people who are facing difficulties with the development program.
Connectivity
Minister Dr. Upali Pannilage said that one of the main objectives is to introduce a structure aimed at alleviating rural poverty through village development of the country. Steps have been taken to plan programs and to participate the people actively in the process of operation and evaluation of the programs. Secondly, as the third step, action will be initiated to make the people of the villages prosperous via development programs unique to the concerned areas. The Praja Shakti Poverty Alleviation National Program has been initiated with the aim of implementing mega programs to develop villages using external resources according to the necessity. A special attention will be focused to areas in the northern eastern provinces since there are a large number of isolated villages in those provinces. This program will be implemented with special focus on these 2 provinces.
Minister K.D. Lalkantha says that the government has decided to import 300,000 metric tons of corn to produce animal food. He made these remarks during a media briefing held after a program in Kandy today. Mr. K.D. Lalkantha pointed out that the farmers do not possess stock of corn at the moment since the stock had been purchased by small, medium and large-scale businessmen. The businessmen provide corn for the production of animal food. They retain the stock until a price increase without providing corn stock to animal food producers. They expected an increase up to 200 rupees per kilo of corn they purchased at a rate of 140 rupees per kilo. If the animal food producers purchase corn at a higher rate per kilo, the price of an egg will around 200 rupees and the price of meat will also increase. He stressed that since this cannot be allowed to happen in order to solve the problem of both farmers and consumers, the government has decided to import 300,000 metric tons of corn.
Minister Vasantha Samarasinghe says that protecting consumers without misleading them is a responsibility of several parties. He made these remarks at a media briefing held today to make awareness on the people on protecting the consumer rights, assuring the quality of goods and streamlining the trade through competitive promotions. Minister Vasantha Samarasinghe stated that both local manufacturers and importers have a collective responsibility to provide quality products and services in the market. He emphasized that rather than simply selling imported goods, the focus should be on offering both better products that truly serve consumers. The minister said that the government must protect both the consumer's life and their money. He further stressed that producers must ensure their products are met with necessary standards and maintain quality without misleading the consumer. In the coming 2 months, the government will be conducting sample checks and chemical tests of products in the market. These tests, along with expert reviews of standards, will help provide a safer environment, especially for children. The minister assured that decisions will be made based on findings from the Consumer Affairs Authority and called on manufacturers and importers to cooperate rather than oppose regulation. He also urged consumers to be informed and make educated purchasing decisions. To support this effort, the ministry, together with the Consumer Affairs Authority, will launch a public awareness campaign.
Today is the 4th day of a special mosquito control week announced by the Ministry of Health under the instruction of the Ministry of Health and Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa. Consultant Dr. Anuja Veerasinghe today presented to the media a progress report of the activities of the program. Meanwhile, a special dengue control program within the Colombo Municipal Council limits comments in the morning at Hyde Park grounds in the Colombo today, parallel to the 4th day of the National Mosquito Control Week under the leadership of the Mayor of Colombo, Rai Kali Balthasar. According to the progress report of the Special Mosquito Control Week announced by the Ministry of Health, 22,668 premises were inspected by now. Possibly 6,370 mosquito breeding places have been identified, and out of it, 580 places have been identified as mosquito larva breeding places. 2,576 dengue patients and 2 deaths have been reported so far from the Colombo Municipal Council limits this year. As a percentage, this stands at 8.9% of the total number of dengue patients recorded in the island. According to the health sector, these are been an increase in the number of dengue patients with the onset of the southern west monsoon. Baralla Medical Officer of Health Dr. Dhammika Adhikarivathage said that eliminating dengue would be extremely difficult without the active participation of the public. The official urged citizens to join hands with the authority and support the national dengue control efforts.
The UNESCO has included trilingual stone inscription and a special document of the Panaduravade in the international list of world memory. Now, a media briefing was held today at the Government Information Department in regards to this matter. Member of the Committee for Compiling Reports over Document Heritage, Professor Chandimwo Gahavatta, said that they had submitted the Traibhasha Sheela Lekhana for inclusion in UNESCO's Memory of the World list. He stated that the uniqueness of this inscription lay in the fact that it is written in 3 languages, including a royal decree in Chinese. He emphasized that highlighting this linguistic and historical value was essential in presenting it as part of the world's heritage. Professor B.D. Nandadeva explained that although there had been conflicts between Buddhist and Christian communities in the past, it was remarkable how those tensions eased after the Panadura debate. He noted that this document's importance went beyond Sri Lanka's national memory and that UNESCO accepted their proposal, recognizing it as a valuable piece of global documentary heritage now registered under the Memory of the World program. Minister Dr. Sunil Senavi stated that Sri Lanka must work systematically to identify such valuable heritage and propose them to the UNESCO. He stated that proper planning should be done according to priorities, themes that can be presented to the world. He added that scholars would be mobilized for this task and necessary steps could be taken going forward, as these are among the most valuable contributions Sri Lanka can offer to the world. The Netherlands has focused special attention to returning the ancient artifacts and manuscripts currently in possession of the Netherlands. At a discussion held yesterday with the Secretary to the President, Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumanayaka, Netherlands Ambassador Bonnie Hobart expressed her gratitude for the cooperation extended by the government of Sri Lanka in this endeavour. The discussion was held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. The government of the Netherlands has adopted a policy position that colonial-era artifacts should be returned to their countries of origin as part of the efforts to strengthen cooperation with formerly colonized nations. In line with this, they have initiated a research program as a first step towards the restitution of such cultural objects. An agreement was reached with the Sri Lankan authorities to conduct joint research on colonial-era artifacts currently held in the Netherlands. As an initial step, it is expected that researchers from both countries will conduct studies on the collection of these ancient manuscripts held in the Netherlands under the leadership of Sri Lanka's Department of National Archives.
The government of Japan has focused attention to investigate future technical necessities of Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation to match the new era. A group of representatives from Japan expressed these views during a tour held today. A group of representatives including Deputy Assistant Minister and the Director General of the Ministry of Foreign Policy Bureau, Ishizuki Idio, today inspected the SLRC premises. Their attention has been paid towards the technical facilities of the corporation. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Gihan De Silva, along with a group of other officials, joined the occasion.
Laying off the foundation stone for the second phase of the children's ward complex at the Apeksha Hospital in Maharagama commenced today. A sum of over 500 million rupees is to be spent for this project. Now the funds will be provided as private donations. The foundation stone was laid for the 5-storied ward complex under the patronage of Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa. Businessman Indra Kumara Silva contributes funds for this and Sri Lanka Air Force provides the labour contributions. The ward complex is comprised of 80 beds and an intensive care unit and many other facilities. Addressing the gathering, the minister said that 33,000 cancer patients are reported annually in this country. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that there are about 800 child cancer patients. The government expects to develop this hospital premises as a special centre for treating the child patients. As the first phase of this project, a 4-storey building with bone marrow transplant unit was declared under the funds given by Basnayaka Nilame of the Ruhunu Mahakataragama Devalaya Dishan Gunasekara. As the second stage of this project, Indra Kumara Silva has donated funds for the ward complex, including outdoor chemotherapy unit and intensive care unit. With the completion of this project, the cancer hospital will have a decisive progress in treating child cancer patients. It is happy to say that the Sri Lanka Air Force has well planned to complete the constructions within a year. The new government's policy is when a new project is launched, the period of its completion will also be exhibited to the people. Then the people should also force the government to end the project without delay.
3 suspects have been arrested yesterday with over 900 kilos of Kerala cannabis in their possession at the Bolawata area in Vennapur. The raid has been jointly conducted by the Sri Lanka Coastal Guard Department, Sri Lanka Navy and the Police Narcotics Bureau. Along with the suspect, 2 pistols manufactured in foreign country, 4 magazines and 40 live ammunition have also been found. Police have taken a cab that transported the weapons and a motor car used to carry cannabis smuggling into their custody. Under the information relieved by the suspect, another person has been arrested with a motor car in suspicion of a connection with the smuggling. The whole of Kerala cannabis found in worth of over 200 million rupees. Custom officials at the Katunayake airport have arrested 2 suspects who had illegally brought nearly 2 kilos of kush narcotics from Bangkok. It is reported that the suspects are businessmen living in Colombo area. The whole of kush was concealed within their clothes. According to the customs, the stock of narcotics is worth of 90 million rupees. Police Narcotic Bureau conducts further investigation regarding the suspect and narcotics arrested in bringing to the island from sea routes illegal during this year. According to the police, 25 suspects are in custody. Police have successfully conducted 4 raids on transporting heroin and ice narcotics by multi-day fishing vessels during this year so far. The entire stock of narcotics seized by the police in last April is 981 kilos. Among them, there are 268 kilos of heroin and 713 kilos of ice narcotics. During the month of May, 777 kilos of narcotics have been seized. These includes 274 kilos of heroin and 503 kilos of ice narcotics. Accordingly, police have taken 1,758 kilos of narcotics into their custody. The entire stock of heroin is amounting of 10.84 billion rupees and the whole of ice narcotics is worth of 12.16 billion rupees.
The Sri Lanka Mahaweli Authority has launched a program to add 1,000 kilowatts of solar power into the national grid. As the first phase, 100 kilowatts were added to the national grid today. Sri Lanka Mahaweli Authority maintains 26 premises throughout the island. Their monthly electricity tariff is around 90 million rupees. Thereby, the authority has taken measures to install solar panels on its building with the aim of reducing the electricity bill up to 40 million rupees. Under this project, the solar panel network installed at the head office of the Mahaweli Authority was added to the national grid today. Deputy Minister of Land and Irrigation Susil Ranasinghe and several others were present at this occasion. The Mahaweli Authority has planned to generate 1,000 kilowatts through the solar panels in the future. Deputy Minister Susil Ranasinghe has denied allegations that the Ceylon Electricity Board is opposing solar and other renewable energy initiatives. He said the claim that the CEB is unwilling to support renewable energy projects is entirely false. He explained that while Sri Lanka does have solar energy potential, the issue lies in the lack of compatible system or infrastructure within the CEB to integrate that energy efficiently. He noted that no proper mechanism has been planned or established, even though such planning should have been done at least 10 years ago. The minister pointed out that a key challenge, solar power is generated during the day, whereas electricity demand peaks during the night. Since solar energy cannot be used directly after sunset, a battery storage system is essential. He added that solar panels with battery backup are still not widely promoted or adopted in the country. He further explained that when households install solar panels and receive free electricity during the day, they tend to increase their usage, added more devices like air conditioning. He stated that the current problems have arisen because there was no consistent long-term implementation in the past. As a government, he said, steps have already been taken to focus on this issue and initiate a structured program to address it going forward.
The government has implemented a number of new projects at the regional level. A new project of constructing houses under the fund of 3,000 million rupees commenced yesterday at the Tantarimale area in Anuradhapura. Deputy Minister of Housing T.B. Sarath laid the foundation stone for the first housing unit of this project. A sum of 1 million rupees is allocated for each house. These houses will be given to low-income families in the area. The Deputy Minister said that a special attention will be focused on the patients of renal disease in providing houses. He further said that a permanent solution will be given to the threat of wild elephants to these villagers within 2 years, according to the special committee by the President in this connection. The Kotaliya Bridge of Galallo along the Colombo Batiklo Main Road will be replaced within a new bridge. The construction of the new bridge commenced yesterday under the patronage of the Minister Bimal Ratnayaka. This Kotaliya bridge has caused many road accidents, losing a large number of lives. The 60-meter long bridge will be widened and developed with 2 lanes. A sum of 250 million rupees has been allocated for the project. It is expected to be completed within 1.5 years.
වගේම ලංගම මිද වැටලා තිබෙන එක කොන්ත්‍රාත් පදනමින් කොන්දස්තර මහතුරු සහ ඩ්‍රයිවර් මහතුරු 750ක් ගන්න. ඒ නිසා අපි සමත්වලා තියෙනවා IMF එකත් ඉන්න ගමන්ම රාජ්‍ය සේවය ශක්තිමත් කරන්නත් පුළුල් කරන්න.
The stalled road project from Valley Mudder town of Ratupolla via Uwa Paragama in functioning again at present. This development project was started under the Asian Development Bank loan assistance 6 years ago. However, due to the suspension of development work, over 300,000 families in the area face immense difficulties. Our correspondent said that 20 million rupees have been allocated to develop the 15-kilometer stretch of this road. Reconstruction of Damalu Vava in Horapatan commenced yesterday. This tank was damaged due to torrential rains fallen in the Anuradhapura district in the past period. The irrigation department has set aside a sum of nearly 8 million rupees for the project.
And now for a few more local news items in brief. Applications forms and guidelines regarding admission of students to grade 1 in school for 2026 has been issued. Details can be obtained from www.rupavahininews.lk website. The final rites of the youth who were shot dead recently at Kahawata was conducted today. Later, a chaotic situation arose today between police and the villagers in the afternoon. This happened in the backdrop of a group of police officials being engaged for security. The relatives of the assassinated youth and the villagers clashed with the police on this occasion. It has also been reported that a 3-wheeler parked at the residence of the person who was alleged with the assassination of the youth was set on fire. The police who suspect the assassination has been carried out on a contract given by a person who is living abroad has commenced further investigations accordingly. The National Farmers Union today filed a complaint against former Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amaravira at the Criminal Investigations Department. A complaint has been filed regarding the misuse of 500 million rupees of the Smart Village project constructed by the government and the Department of Agrarian Development. 15 persons have been injured when an SLTB bus plying from the Kudagala to Kandy skidded off the road in the Arliauyana Wattegama area. 8 injured persons were admitted to the Wattegama hospital for treatment. And we'll be right back with some foreign news items right after this short break. Stay tuned.
Moving on to foreign news, President Donald Trump said on Wednesday that the US will charge 20% tariff on imports from Vietnam under a new trade deal reached during the last-minute negotiation. Products sent from Vietnam to US had faced a 46% levy, which has set to go into effect next week as a part of Trump's reciprocal tariff announced in April. Dozens of other economies, including the European Union and Japan, are still scrambling to make their own deals with the US before the planned increase. Under the agreement, Vietnam will charge no tariff on US products, Trump said in a social media post. In the Great Deal of Cooperation, as Trump called it, the US will also impose a steeper tariff of 40% on goods that pass through Vietnam in a process known as transshipping. Peter Navro, Trump's senior counselor on trade and manufacturing, has said that a third of all Vietnamese exports to US were actually Chinese products shipped through Vietnam. The president said on social media Vietnam will do something that they have never done before, give the United States of America total access to their market for trade.
Now we're back with your sports news. If you're a cricket fan, you'll be delighted to know that Sri Lanka posted a 77-run victory in the first ODI international against Bangladesh. This has been the 11th consecutive defeat of the Bangladesh team against Sri Lanka at the R. Premadasa International Cricket Stadium. Sri Lanka won the toss in their first ODI, while Milan Ratnayake also received his ODI cap. Both the Sri Lankan openers failed in the face of some tight bowling by Bangladesh. Kusal Mendis and Charita Salanka built a responsible 60-run partnership for the fourth wicket, which ended when Kusal Mendis was out for 45 runs. Charita Salanka, playing a captain's innings, scored his fifth ODI century in the career, scoring 106 runs. In bowling, Taskin Ahmed captured 4 wickets, while Tanzim Hassan was able to claim 3 wickets. Accordingly, Bangladesh, chasing a victory target of 245 runs, lost their first wicket when the total was at 29. Asita Fernando claimed that wicket. Tanzid Hassan and Najmul Hussain Shanto put up a 71-run partnership for the second wicket, when they lost their second wicket at 100 runs. Later, Sri Lankan bowlers were able to capture another 6 wickets, for the addition of a mere 5 runs to the total has been a unique feature. Accordingly, Bangladesh total was 105 runs for the loss of 8 wickets. The visiting team scored 167 runs all out in their allotted 35.5 overs. In bowling, Wanindu Hasaranga claimed 4 wickets for 10 runs in 7.5 overs and also crossed the 100 wickets mark of his ODI career yesterday. He played 64 ODI matches. He has entered the record books for being the second Sri Lankan bowler to reach the target within a minimum number of matches. Kamindu Mendis captured 3 wickets. Sri Lanka is now leading the 3-match ODI series 1-0, and the second match will be played on the 5th of this month at the Premadasa International Cricket Stadium. Well, that was a look at your news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Siobhan Pereira, together with my partner. Wish you a pleasant evening. Take care.
Good night.